Thank you so much for joining us today. We are working a psalm spell today, and today we are working on Psalm 52, and we use Psalm 52 for several purposes, but today we are working on overcoming injustice. Overcoming injustice. So if you feel like you've been unjustly treated, or if you have any sense of injustice going on in your life, this is the psalm for you. And this is how we work psalm magic. We take the psalm in question and we read it out loud all the way through once without stopping. This is called an incantation. And when we are finished with that incantation, we go back through the psalm and we take it verse by verse, sometimes line by line, or even word by word, depending on what we're working on. And we actually find hidden meanings, hidden secret occult meanings within the lines of the psalm. And through that searching, digging, and finding and contemplating, we are actually taking those seeds of magic that we find there and planting them deeply in our minds, where they, in a very real sense, take root and grow and bear fruit after their kind. And that's what we are working on right now. So here we go with Psalm 52. Why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of God endureth continually. The tongue deviseth mischiefs like sharp razor, working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Selah. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away, and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place, and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. The righteous shall also see, and fear, and shall laugh at him. Lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. I will praise thee forever, because thou hast done it, and I will wait on thy name, for it is good before thy saints. All right, so here we go. Let's work the magic here. It starts out with, it's addressing people, not the Lord directly. But when it's talking about God a lot in here. So let's just be clear on what we mean by God. We are not thinking in terms of a religious deity up in the sky or separate and distinct from us. We are talking about the actual force of life itself, that which creates us in the moment. We are being created every moment, moment by moment by moment. And so we contemplate the qualities of God a lot, especially when we work psalm magic. So let's go through just a few of them, just so that we are clear on what we're talking about when we're talking about God. Okay, so we're talking about the principle of infinite life, that which is beating our hearts. We're talking about infinite intelligence, that which knows how to create babies out of embryos and acorns grow into forests and things like that. We're talking about perfect love, that's the love of a mother for a child is a pale comparison for the perfect love of the Creator for its creations, which is us. We're talking about infinite law and principle. So God's laws cannot be defied. So 2 + 2 is always 4, no matter what anybody says. So people in the world can lie and repeat the lies over and over and over again until people believe them, but that doesn't make any difference as far as being 2 + 2 equaling 4. It still equals 4. And so God is those laws. And then thusly God is also infinite truth. So truth is that which it sets us free, because once you see the truth, then the lies no longer have power over you. So these are the kinds of things we're talking about when we talk about God. So it starts out by saying, why boasteth thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? Well, what's mischief? Mischief is anything within our minds that likes to think that we are separate and distinct from our Creator. So all mischief is the parts of the human mind that try to prove that we are separate from our Creator. And how do you separate yourself from infinite good? The only way to separate yourself from infinite good is to try to be less than good, less than perfect, something that's not so hot. So our ego minds are very, very committed to proving to us and the world that we are imperfect, that we're not good enough. So why boasteth thou thyself in mischief? That is boasting, arrogance. O mighty man, the goodness of God endureth continually. So the goodness of God endureth continually. No matter how much we or the people that are, that we're coming to the psalm about, like if we're being unjustly treated, no matter what anybody says that's not the truth, it can't change the inherent goodness of God that endureth forever. All it can do is distract us from that. The tongue deviseth mischiefs like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. So this is all about the lies. Now, in our case, the lies we are bringing to the psalm might be that if we're coming to the psalm to overcome being unjustly treated, then the lies that we're talking about are the lies that are being maybe spoken of us. But we have to recognize that we have to clean out those tendencies from our own mind as well, or we have no strength to overcome anything. So you can't just say, well, I'm going to lie, but you better not lie to me, right? So we're looking at this as for ourselves as well. The tongue deviseth mischiefs like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. How many times a day do we use our words deceitfully? Anytime, now, if you're trying to pull the wool over somebody else's eyes, that's pretty easy to detect. You can just say, yeah, I lied. But how many times do we say things about ourselves thinking that we're being humble when in actuality we're being arrogant? How many times do we say about ourselves like, no, I'm not that great, or really messed up, or everything I do I'm just not good enough? Those kinds of thoughts, that's arrogance. That's boasting deceitfully. And that's that is a way that our tongue deviseth mischiefs like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. That's us. So it's not only being deceitful on purpose, but it's those ideas of false humility that we use. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Selah. So if you're feeling unjustly treated, if you are feeling unjustly treated, then it's important that you understand that you're loving evil more than good. You are. Now, again, we're not saying that it's your fault that somebody's doing this to you, but how much are you taking responsibility for how you use your mind? Because you can protect yourself from this, and you have to love, it's saying love God. What does it say? Loving evil more than good. So you're loving this, you're putting, now loving in this sense is giving your attention to, it's giving your devotion to, it's giving your care to. What are you harboring? What are you spending time on? So if you're spending time on, I'm so unjustly treated, I'm so unjustly treated, I'm so unjustly treated, and you never once consider what's good in your life, if you never once give that the attention, then you are actually loving evil more than good, because you're giving it your attention. Thou lovest all devouring words, O deceitful tongue. Right? So now, the person or people that are treating us unjustly, we can be talking about them here, definitely. But we have to take responsibility for where we do that, because otherwise we have no power. We have no position of authority, right? So, thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. How are we using our words? How are we using our words? I'm sure of it. If you're in a situation like that, you are not using your words, speaking only of the righteous, only of the good, only of that which you desire, or at least not giving it equal time, equal airtime. So you need to be aware that the way that you use your words is all powerful. And anything that is contributing to that is a deceit. You are buying into the deceit. So you've got to make sure that your side of the street is clean in regards to how you're using your words. If you're coming to a psalm to get rid of being unjustly treated, you have to make sure you're not treating yourself unjustly on top of it all. Because very oftentimes, and again, we're not blaming the victim here, but very often when those things happen, it's a reflection of how we treat ourselves. And oftentimes how we treat others too, but in this case, how we treat ourselves. God shall likewise destroy thee forever, for he shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. Now we are very happy about this because we are not saying that God's going to destroy us as people. God's not going to destroy even the people that we perceive as treating us unjustly, but God will take away that thought form that's causing all of this. God will destroy it forever, take it away, pluck it out of its dwelling place, and root out the land of the living. Those thought forms are just like little vermin. And God's going to take care of it. The righteous shall also see and fear and shall laugh at him. So the righteous thought forms within us will cheer us on, and you'll be able to know, it's very clear here that you will see the righteous thought forms within you are the real you. That's what God created. Those thought forms will see, fear, and laugh at him. So you're going to see it, you're going to go, and you're going to go, ha, 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 once you see what's going on. And that is that these thought forms are being destroyed, and therefore the manifestations of those thought forms are going to be destroyed, and that unjust treatment will have to cease. It will have to end. And when you laugh at something like that, you know it's working. That's why I always say that witch's cackle is sort of like a hidden mystery. When you do magic that ends in uncontrollable laughter, it usually means you're onto the right track. Lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. Now, we here can definitely be talking about the people that are doing this to us, definitely. Always we can do that. But we can't do that in a vacuum. We also have to turn that on us. Where are you making the things that you think are so valuable in this world more important than God? Right? That's what an idol is. That's all it means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're bowing down to some deity. You know, because even that can be okay. That's actually fine if you're doing it consciously, because God can take any form. So it's not that when people talk about idols and things like that, it's really not about who you're worshiping. It's about what you're valuing. So if you loved God more than this problem would disappear, is basically what this is saying. If you loved God more than your illness would disappear. If you loved God more than your poverty would disappear. And if you loved God more than this unjust treatment would disappear. That is what it's promising here. Because it says lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in wickedness. So anytime that you are trying to look to anything to help you other than God, that's exactly what you're doing. And it doesn't make you bad. You know, these psalms are real dramatic. It doesn't make you bad, but now we are changing that. We are changing that so we are no longer participating in this problem. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. Now we're finally realizing who we are. Now, to be like a green olive tree in the house of God, well, what's an olive tree? Well, for one, olive trees represent peace, represent forgiveness, represent health, represent prosperity, represent abundance, represent holiness, represent sanctity. Olive oil comes from olive trees. That represents nutrition. It represents all good. And so therefore, if you are like an olive tree in the house of God, that means that you were created all good. That you are all good. You have absolutely nothing but good. You were created here to be good, a light to the world. God using you as this olive tree in the house of God, God working through you, you're not going to be unjustly treated. You're not going to be in these problems. No, you're going to be busy doing God's work because God won't stand for it. But we have to, but also at the same time, we have free will, and we can hang out in these problems for as long as we choose. And the psalm is giving us a way out, and that's to change our direction, to change what we are focusing on. It says, I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. Before we get off of that, trusting in the mercy of God means having faith in all things good. Having faith in all things good rather than having faith that this being or whatever it is has any real power over you. Has any real power over you. Now, sometimes we do a psalm like this and we expect it to end like that. And when it doesn't, we think, it didn't even work. That's not trusting. That's not having faith in all things good. That's like saying if I take an aspirin and I don't get relief the second I swallow it, that it doesn't work or something like that. You have to give things time because we are still working in this world. So have faith in all things good. Trust in the mercy of God forever and ever, it says. Forever and ever means in the present moment. Happily ever after and ever. There's only really two places that you can find ever after. Fairy tales and the Bible. And they're both sacred texts. We're going to do some fairy tale stuff soon, I promise. But to say forever and ever is really a code for the present moment. Present moment. So trusting in the mercy of God forever and ever means right this second. And trusting in the mercy of God is not trusting in an external deity. Let's bring it around again. Trusting in the mercy of God is trusting that infinite intelligence is all that is. Infinite truth casts out all lies. Infinite love casts out all fear. Infinite light casts out all darkness. There's just no two ways about it. And reminding ourselves in the present moment is trusting in the mercy of God forever and ever. I will praise thee forever, meaning right now, because thou hast done it. Thou hast done it. Isn't that great? So we're speaking directly to the Lord now. And again, who's the Lord? Not a deity. Not a deity. No. We are pre-gender. It's not a father god. It's not a mother goddess. It is the force of life itself. And we are praising the force of life itself. How do you praise something? What is praise? Praise is acknowledging that something is good. So when you're praising God, you're praising good. You're saying good is good. That's really what praising God means. It doesn't mean like, oh, aren't you great? And oh, I love you so much because if I praise you enough, maybe you'll be nice to me because God has this big ego that needs to be praised. No, people have that way off. That's way off the mark. Praising God simply means acknowledging that good is good and that good is all powerful and that there's nothing to thwart it. There's nothing to oppose it. And so that's what we mean when we say one with God is a majority. If God be for us, who can be against us? Because there's nothing but this power, and there's only one. There's not a bunch of powers. There's not good and evil and light and dark and all that. No, there's only one, and it's all good. And it's all powerful. So if you praise that, you're just saying, I recognize that that's what it is. It's good is good because thou hast done it. So he's already done it. Now, when I say he, it's just because it's easier because of our language. But it's done it. God's done it. It's over. It's kaput. It's finished. No more. There's no more. You are no longer being unjustly treated because it's done. And I will wait on thy name. Now, how do you wait on the name? That doesn't mean hanging out until somebody calls some sacred name. Waiting on the name of something in the Psalms means its nature. And so the name of God is the nature of God. The nature of God are those qualities of God that we talk about all the time. So waiting on the name of God is literally pondering the qualities of God. What is infinite light? What is infinite life? What is infinite intelligence? All of those qualities, you go through them in your mind again and again. That's waiting on thy name. Considering the name of God, considering the nature of divinity, pulls you out of any problem, not just this one. For it is good before thy saints. Well, what are the saints? Saints are thought forms which are exalted. Okay, so yeah, we can look at saints as being people in the that have done good things. I mean, you can look at it that way if you want to, but truly the esoteric meaning of the word saint is the exalted thought forms within our mind. Now, saints usually, there's an old saying that every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So saints don't necessarily mean the same thing as the thought forms of God that God installed. Saints are those parts of our own mind that we've worked hard to become. We've worked hard to overcome certain weaknesses. We've worked hard to be strong in certain areas. Okay, so it is good before thy saints means that waiting on God is good for that quality of your own mind, which is constantly improving, constantly getting stronger, constantly expanding, growing, and moving forward. And you're going to continue to do that unencumbered by this unjust treatment, because we have just fixed it. We have just brought it right to where it needs to be so that it can be eliminated in the most wonderful way possible. And that's how you work these psalms. So you just keep coming back to that psalm again and again and again until you start to see movement in the right direction. All right, well, I can't wait to work with you again, because this has been great. And until the next time, much love and many, many blessings.